What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the local meta report here in St. Louis, Missouri. I am Brad, aka the mayor of Lorcana and co-host of the Rules of Villainy podcast. If you watched the episode this week, we told you that Andy and Kristen would be joining me this week to talk about their day 2 experience at Richmond last week. Unfortunately, we had to pivot away from that. Some plans got altered, and it didn't work out for us all to get together. Hopefully, we can still all get together and tell you about that experience in the near future. But as for today, I'm going to bring you some decks from the set championship that I hosted this weekend at game night. 30 Illumineers came out and braved a flash snowstorm out of nowhere. I had no idea this weather was coming whatsoever to make game night a huge success. And I can't thank you guys enough if you're watching for making that happen. It's always a blast hosting you guys and having a great time. Had a lot of young Illumineers there as well, and just a great experience overall. So thank you to all of you who attended. Unfortunately, that was the only set championship in St. Louis this weekend that I could get the deck list for. In fact, I had all 30 of them because I, again, hosted it. We're going to talk about a few of those, including the winner and some other spicy decks throughout the day that impressed me, and hopefully have some fun with this video. And that's going to be it. So let's jump into the winning deck at game night. All right, and the game night winning deck belongs to Jared on Emerald Steel. This is the second Emerald Steel to take down a set championship that I know of here in the greater St. Louis area, and both of them are variations of the one that was published by Fast Action Hamlet. I believe he has a Metafy guide out there for a deck that has just been actually killing it here. I'm surprised a lot more people aren't playing that. We saw just a couple weeks ago, David took down a 45-person tournament with a very, very similar deck with this Chromacon package that just eats away at your opponent, especially if you can bounce your own dock and just return cards to your hand, as well as the Goliath who's drawing you cards when you get him out there as well. But we're looking at 21 drops here. We can break those down. Bobby lets you filter your hand. Mulan lets you filter your hand. You got the cursed merfolk that quests for 2 and punishes your enemy, your opponent, for challenging into you. Of course, the classic Forceful Duelist and Captain Hook, and the Webby package that allows you to shift onto and even ramp a little bit if you're playing against a blue deck. So this deck, a little bit different than what I remember David's being. I don't remember Lewis, the alligator, being in there, the one that comes out and basically gives somebody reckless and says, crash into me. He comes out exerted, or can be played exerted. No, he does come out exerted. It's been a while since I've seen Lewis, and says, hey, you're reckless. Now you got to run into me, and I'm going to hit you back for 4. So good luck. It was a great tool to get rid of Daisy when she was more prominent in the meta early on in this game. So some other tools in here. Go-Go, I heard over the course of the day, there was nothing people could do about Go-Go. They were dreading her enter into the battlefield all day, where she would come in with damage left on board and get that extra lore for whatever that damage may be on one of your characters. And of course, the classic Calhoun, Doc, everything that we expect to see in Steel. Lexington, who comes out, he can also sing Strength of a Raging Fire. And then the Chromacon is just there to bounce things that run into you, or bounce your own characters back to yourself for benefits, as we talked about with the Doc. But the one thing that I wanted to point out, because it was the bane of my existence last week, was this Sword of Hercules. He's got a 1-of Sword of Hercules Spice, which I am absolutely certain was not in David's deck a couple of weeks ago, but I could guarantee this sword has probably hit a couple Hades over the course of the day, because when I ran into this sword in an Amethyst Steel deck, every time I played a Hades, if you listened to the pod earlier this week, every time I played my Hades against Malachi, he dropped that sword and instantly banished that Hades. And then I was afraid to turn anything sideways the rest of the game, because that would just give anybody lore for the Calhoun effect for banishing somebody in a challenge. So really solid deck, and I think Jared just coasted the way through the day. I don't think he took a single L, and I think the only thing that wasn't a win was an intentional draw there in the end of Swiss. So congratulations to Jared. A very solid deck, and interesting to see in a field where everything's just been Amethyst Steel and Blurple and what have you. But Emerald Steel on the rise, at least if these past couple weeks are any indicator. And the second place deck at game night belongs to Ace, running what is either Skylar or Fungus's DLC Finals mirror match deck. I don't remember who had which deck. There was a 1 card difference between the two, and I believe this is card for card one of those decks. The only difference being an Improvise and John Silver, the numbers on those. But everything else, I think, is card for card. And it just goes to show how powerful this deck is. Not to take anything away from Ace, who can pilot any deck very well, but this deck has just been on a tear recently, as we saw in the mirror match at DLC Richmond. Looking at the play lines, of course, we're looking for the shift play line with the Clarabelles. We do have Tipo and Sail on 2. All this deck does is ramp between 2. On turn 3, you got Cinderella to come out, who ramps herself, and then you just keep going. It's off to the races. You get so much ink with this deck. You can scry through your cards with even Improvise, who's mostly probably there for illusion banishment, but does allow you to draw a card with it. You got to develop your brain. Sail the Azurite Sea. Vision of the Future allows you to see 5 cards and take one of them. And it's very important which cards you're looking for to make sure that you are getting the right play lines to keep yourself in control of the game. Malicious, Mean, and Scary, of course, is there for the Prince Philip combo that comes out and banishes all opposing damaged characters, and just an absolute killer right now. Some other big hitters is the John Silver, comes out, gives somebody reckless, and when he quests, so if you can't deal with him quickly, then your characters aren't questing and forced to run into him, who is a 5/5 and will basically delete almost anything that runs into him. Basil comes out, bounces something back to your hand. You're welcome, bounces stuff back to your hand. Mother Knows Best bounces stuff back to your hand. All for them to probably play the meanest card in the game right now, which is Bend to My Will, and makes you discard your entire hand for 7 ink, which is nothing in a Emerald Sapphire deck. Like, they have so much ink by the end of the game that they can do whatever they want, and they're refilling their hand with the Clarabelle, with the You're Welcomes, and whatever else. So congratulations to Ace. Sorry you couldn't get it done with against Jared's faster. Probably, I think it was probably a very fast finals match, if I remember correctly. I was kind of checked out at that point after a long day and playing some fun games with the kids that were there. But I know that he had a bad time running into the Emerald Steel that Jared brought. But he made it all the way to the finals, which is nothing to scoff at. So congratulations to you, Ace. It's always great to have you around and enjoying this great game. All right, our third place deck of the day, and perhaps my favorite deck of the day, belongs to Paul, running Sapphire Steel Detectives. Took a 30-person tournament all the way to third place. He sat next to me most of the day, and I got to watch some wicked things happen. I'm so happy to see a classification have the kind of synergy to build around. We've seen elements of it in the past with brooms and racers, and princesses were never quite there. Villains, not even close to being there, but there are cards that call out, if you have villain characters in play. We got pirates and puppies and what have you. But detectives has been something that a lot of people have been playing around with this set, because this whole set was themed around it. And he made it work, and he made it look like it's a lot of fun. There's 35 detectives in this deck, if I counted correctly, and they all have a function that pushed him over, the 20 lore that he needs to get there. And just a very, very solid list that it does have ramp in it, allows him to ramp up a little bit higher than his opponents, assuming he's not playing against another Sapphire deck, and plenty of draws, specifically with this 4-cost Judy Hopps Uncovering Clues when you play this character and whenever she quests. So double action there. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a detective character and put that card into your hand, put the rest at the bottom in your deck in any order. With 35 detectives in the deck, you barely miss. I think I saw him whiff one time, which was extremely unheard of. But overall, I was just watching him continuously play more and more characters every turn, always having something to do, and some beefy ones that are really hard to deal with. This 5-cost Genie, he's a vanilla card, common, 4/7 quest for 2, but he's a lot to deal with. He hits back for 4, and he's got a big body. You got Francine at the 3-drop, who's a 4/3 with resist 1. You got what I didn't realize was a subtitle in this game, and now one of my favorites, Clawhauser, the Donut Detective at the 6-cost inkable slot, 5/6, Challenger 2, making him a 7/6, and Quest for 2 comes out there, and it's just a big presence. And then Judy Hopps, the Shift Judy Hopps, lead detective, gives all of your detective characters characters alert and resist +2, so you can deal with those pesky evasives as well as the shift Nick Wild, persistent investigator during your turn whenever one of your detective characters banishes another character in a challenge, draw a card. So overall, I really want to build this and play it. I've been having a lot of fun with a Sapphire Amber Detectives deck that we saw Josh Paltry at the feature table play at DLC Richmond, and having a lot of fun with that. But the success that Paul's been having with this deck, we've been talking about it off and on in the DMs for a couple weeks now, and I even played him a couple weeks ago at game night on our weeklies, and saw the power that it had against what, you know, it was not the top of the line Blurple that I was playing, but he took me down in a best of 3 with this. So it very much has the tools that it needs to win any given game, in my opinion. And it's awesome to see. And Paul is somebody who I love to talk about more on this channel. I know that his weeklies aren't a constructed format. They just kind of open play what you want. A lot of new players, a lot of just having fun with the game. So my video basically leads into, you know, 3 and O's of the competitive play, but Paul very much deserves to be on here, as well as I'm sure other people at the store as well. Just happy to get to talk to him because he's such a valuable member of this community, and doing it with such a fun deck like Detectives is so cool to see, and what this game is all about. So congratulations, Paul, making it all the way to 3rd place with Detectives. And finally, the spiciest deck of the day, according to Inkdex, at 76%, just a tad bit higher than Paul's and Jesse's and a few others. I'll have a link to the Inkdex in the description below if you want to check out the full 30 deck list from game night this weekend. The spiciest one of them all belongs to Ryan with his Christmas Emerald Ruby deck. It's changed a little bit since I last saw it when I actually played him at the collector store last week, and I won the best of 3 because I had a Grimorum on board and I drew into an Elsa to exert one of his characters. Otherwise, I was losing that game, and because I had no idea how to deal with this deck. This deck at the time was running Pirate's Life as well, which I've seen he's taken out of here, but he was giving a lot of people a run for their money in this tournament because nobody knew what to do with it. Nobody plays Ruby Emerald. You know, what is going on here? We've talked about some of these already. We have the shift line with the Clarabelle. That 1-drop Clarabelle can act as item removal later in the game too when you have more ink. A little bit of sneaky item removal there when we talk about the guidebooks and the Emerald Chromacons. That stupid Sword of Hercules that was a pain last week for me. He's got the Webby shift package. Lumiere comes out to buff up all of your characters by 1 strength. The Shere Khan is still in here because he's a solid 2-drop with a 3/3/1 lore. He did used to have the Shere Khan shift package in here as well, but right now he's just got a solid 2-drop in there with a 3/3. Another Clarabelle at the 3 cost that allows you to draw a card if your opponent has more cards than you at the time of playing her. And of course, the Prince Philip combo for a 1-sided board wipe with 3-drop Prince, Malicious, Mean, and Scary, and then shifting into the 9-drop Vanquisher of Foes. One thing that I did see was kind of funny over the course of the day when he was actually playing Paul, who we just talked about, was he top decked the Goofy Flying Goof, I think 3 turns in a row, it's not a bad top deck. He is a 6-cost uninkable 5/5 who comes out with Rush and Evasive, but it was not the card he was wanting to see each and every one of those turns. But yeah, just a fun deck and experimental. And Ryan is the kind of player who will put this together and put you to the test. Like, you know, here's my idea, deal with it. See if you can get through this. A few other cards we did talk about. We talked about John Silver a little bit ago in Ace's deck, but the Headless Horseman, a former villain of the week here at Rules of Villainy, the Terror of Sleepy Hollow. He comes out, he banishes anything with 2 strength or less, and then whenever a character is banished on your turn with the Headless Horseman in play, all your other characters get +1 strength for each character banished. So a little bit of strength manipulation there. And then the other removal that he has is Mother Knows Best and You're Welcome, which he can also use on himself for a little bit of card draw if needed. So yeah, Ryan found his way to, I think, 2 and 3. He did not top cut, but like I said, he had people scratching their heads for a while and took Paul to 3 games, you know, in Swiss. But congratulations to Ryan for the spiciest deck of the day. You love to see people be experimental with this kind of stuff and be, moderately successful with it. I've seen it in action, a different variation of it, and it's maybe not all the way there yet, but he's well on his way to making it work, and I'm excited to see the rest of that journey. So one more time, congratulations to Ryan. And that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up week 3 of the Local Meta Report Set Championship Edition for Whispers in the Well. I want to give a big shout out to everybody, all 30 Illuminaires who made their way out to game night this weekend to make that a huge success. I know it couldn't have been easy with that. It might have been forecasted. Maybe I just don't pay enough attention to the weather, but snow like crazy off and on for the first couple hours of the morning. But we made it work. The place was hopping with other events. Like, it was the busiest I've ever seen the store, and 30 of us were just enjoying a great day of Disney Lorcana, and I couldn't be more thankful to everybody who made it out to make that happen. In addition, I'm so thankful to everybody who tuned into this video and hopefully enjoyed the content here. Maybe try out a few of these decks. Go check out the deck lists in the link below, and maybe you'll find another one that you like and you jive with before we move on to the winter spell and less than a month now. It's absolutely crazy thinking that the next set is almost here. But yeah, if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for any kind of Rules of Villainy content. Of course, we have the podcast proper, this report, Deck Test Tuesdays. We have Vince uploading a bunch of pack pulls all the time, looking for that elusive enchanted that he can't seem to pull. But when other people open his packs, they find them. So we need to have Vince just open all the packs, and hopefully he'll get that enchanted. It'll be a great one. Maybe it'll be an iconic, and the world will go crazy. But yeah, and then one last thing is that hopefully we can sit down, me, Andy, and Kristen, and break down their decks and their matchups from Richmond. If you are interested in that, hopefully we can get that video out to you guys as well to check that out and celebrate their success, because it was huge for us and our team to make two people of our little team going all the way to day 2 in Richmond was something that I regrettably miss. That I wish I could have been there in person to root them on. But so happy for them. And I'm ranting now, but they deserve all the praise that they get. And hopefully we can have a longer extended conversation with them talking about that. But that's it for this one. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, happy questing.